Welcome to Industry Insights with Route Consultant, your front row seat to the fast-moving world of logistics and beyond. Each week, we bring you game-changing insights, real-world strategies, and fresh perspectives to fuel smarter investments and build stronger businesses. Join us as we sit down with expert guests to explore emerging trends and pressing topics across a wide range of industries. This is Industry Insights. Hey everyone, welcome to Industry Insights. This is a special episode that was actually recorded live at the Route Consultant Expo in 2026. We're releasing this over time so that if you weren't at the Expo, or if you missed the session, or if you're just catching up, these are all coming out over the course of the year so that you can go back and watch this content and make sure that you see everything that we went over at the Expo. Today we're going to hear from Amy Byers, Nick Hafen, Adam Angel, and Ramel Watley from Truck and Hustle about how to crisis-proof your business in a constantly evolving industry.
Good evening. Welcome to Nashville and the 2026 Expo. My name is Matt West. I'm the CEO of Route Consultant. Tonight we have an esteemed panel of logistics professionals for your viewing pleasure. And leading this panel is going to be none other than Mr. Ramel Watley, who is the President and CEO of Truck and Hustle and a good friend of Route Consultant. Ramel, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing out there? Good? All right. Keep the energy up. Keep the energy high. We're going to have some fun. As Matt said, my name is Ramel Watley. I'm the founder of T&H Media and the host of the Truck and Hustle podcast. If you're not familiar with it, please go on YouTube and make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. We have an amazing panel tonight. We have three really cool guests. If you follow Truck and Hustle, we love to tell stories of entrepreneurship in the transportation and logistics industry. And I think these guests really all have very unique stories. They represent some similar spaces, but different ways that they got into the business. And tonight we're going to talk about crisis-proofing your business in an evolving industry. Now, how many of you have went through some sort of crisis in your business in 2025 by the show of hands? You don't got to be shy, man. We're all family here. I'm going to ask one more time. How many of you have gone through some sort of crisis? It could be big, it could be small, but some sort of crisis, some form of crisis in 2025. Raise your hands. All right. Okay. I want to gauge the room real fast. How many of you guys are investors or potential investors in the route space? If you could raise your hand. Okay. Sounds good. How many of you guys are actually business owners, contractors, by the show of hands? Okay. So we have a pretty mixed room, so we're going to make sure that we keep the conversation flowing and we can cater to all of you guys and make sure they're able to get some valuable insights from these esteemed panelists, as Matt said. Everybody ready? Everybody ready? Let's get the energy up. Everybody ready? Yeah. All right. Let's go. So first I want to introduce everybody, or actually I want to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to start here to my direct right. Mr. Nick Hafen, could you please tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here. I am in the line haul space and have been for about 5 years. And I'm just here happy to answer questions and share a little bit of my story. And happy to have the chance to give back with the information that I've been able to acquire from other contractors that have helped me along the way.
Thank you, Nick. Adam.
Good evening. Sorry in advance about the voice. It's been a long day in the expo hall. But background on myself, Adam Angel. I'm in the Amazon space in both the DSP, so final mile delivery, and the AFP, the line haul. Launched in 2018, so we just went through our 8th peak season and have a unique perspective of kind of seeing both sides in the Amazon world.
And Amy?
I am Amy Byers. We are in the P&D space, about 9 terminals now, also in line haul and custom critical for FedEx Ground. So we're pretty deep in the network. My husband and I have been doing this for 19 and a half years. We'll be celebrating 20 years pretty quick. Dave started as a package handler when he was in college and started at one man, one van, and we're at about 220 employees now.
Wow, that's amazing. Really, really amazing. Give it up for everybody real quick. Give them a hand. All right, so as we, work our way through this panel, we're going to do a little bit of storytelling. We'll learn more about these entrepreneurs as well as learn some tactical information that you guys can actually take, because I think that's what's really important. Everybody wants to get the tactical, right? So let's start with you, Nick. The word of the day is crisis, right? This past year, what has been some of the biggest disruptions that you've seen in your space that you can share with our audience?
Well, thanks for that question. This past year, I think that the biggest disruption or biggest news was the change in what the expectations are for safety equipment and the tractors and the age of the tractors for line haul. That made you do a little self-check and business check real quick on, okay, what are we going to have to do? How many trucks do we have to upgrade? How are we going to get these retrofitted? Can we? Is it possible? How much do they cost? Do we have that in the bank? How long is it going to take? All those types of questions to really, really go through and figure out how you're going to make this happen. Now, a lot of us can take a breath now a little bit because of the recent news that those things have been pushed a little bit. But that's the main one in the past year for me that really had to put the brain to the fire and see what we were going to do.
Thanks for that. Adam, for you, what are some things that made you have to rethink the way you fundamentally ran your business?
We've had a lot of changes in the Amazon space. It's a developing network that's been changing sometimes by the week, but definitely quarterly. One of the major disruptions this year, our fleet maintenance programs differs from the FedEx world, and historically, Amazon has given the DSP world autonomy over their repairs and maintenance and managing that budget and burdening those costs. On the line haul side, it was just the opposite. Amazon was handling all of that, handling the bills. And then this year, they both switched. So we were sourcing our first time to have diesel mechanics on staff for our 30 tractors, and we were moving to more of a fleet maintenance planning team on the DSP side, on the final mile side, and no longer having relationships with the vendors and sourcing that through Amazon. So there was a lot of new faces, a lot of new mechanisms that needed to get built to monitor those expenses and stay within budget. Just a big change overall after 8 years in the business.
Got it. And you work with Amazon DSP as well as AFP. Can you talk about any differences between the two that you kind of would want to point out?
Yeah, it follows a lot of suit of what's seen on the FedEx side. But DSP is the final mile delivery aspect, so it's high velocity, high numbers, high package counts, and we are running 7 days a week, long 10-hour days. On the flip side, the line haul business is just a little bit more, has a cadence to it. We're running the same lanes regularly, same block times, running to the same locations, and a lot of nuances to the business when it comes to the final mile with injuries and accidents, and we're getting out of the vehicle 200 times a day versus running a line haul route to Houston and back or Oklahoma City and back is just a couple of stops. So intrinsically they're different just from how they operate, but a lot more variance to the final mile space.
Got it. Thank you. Amy, how have you had to reimagine your business this past year with all of the changes?
So as far as crisis, and thank you for the big packages, by the way. So honestly, that's the two things that I would say as far as a crisis factor in our business on the P&D side for sure, is the Amazon contract to take all the big packages and then feeding that into the human aspect of how that's impacted our people and the crisis that's caused on the labor side with moving those large packages, right? So it's just changed the game, really caused some disruption in the business when, the biggest box was, what we were dealing with was with Chewy, right? It was like a 40, 50 pound box. And now all of a sudden we're delivering refrigerators and sofas and furniture and everything like that. So huge disruption, just kind of had to put in bulk routes and get, just creative on how we're doing things. On the line haul side, same thing, right? With our toe in both pools. We like to say impact and frequency, right? So the impact of things going wrong on the line haul side is much higher, but the frequency is very low, where on the P&D side, the impact is very low, but the frequency is very, it's much more higher in the frequency. So little accidents, yard ruts, things like that, they don't cost a ton, but they happen much more frequently. Whereas our line haul professionals, CDL drivers, go, very little stop and go, less frequent that there's an accident or an issue, but when it does happen, it's pretty costly. It's pretty significant.
How do you communicate these kind of changes to like your personnel to make sure that they're, they know what they need to do when things change and evolve?
The big packages?
Yeah.
Well,
specifically that.
So thanks to FedEx
Yeah.
or thanks to Facebook, they kind of know that it's coming. So we're kind of on the defense sometimes with that news. When a big, media source pushes out and says, hey, guess what? FedEx is going to take all the big boxes immediately, right? The employees are like, what does that mean for me? So we're sometimes chasing the information. Sometimes we get it firsthand from FedEx and we can push it out. But we try to be the sponge or the spring between FedEx and the drivers, right? So we're absorbing that kind of discomfort and that kind of, jostle, if you will, when something disruptive comes through. It's my team's job, David and I and our management team to kind of sponge, right, and absorb that headache, come up with the solutions, problem solve, get creative, and then put a solution in place so that the drivers aren't impacted as much. So when the big packages did come, we put in bulk routes, right? So we hired specific drivers on specific routes to take the big packages and then free up the other trucks to take the smaller packages, a little bit more volume, a little bit easier day. They still have big boxes, but the big stuff we try to get off their plates. So again, we're just trying to kind of absorb and spring, and the changes keep coming. 2.0 is coming. So a lot of opportunity, but it can be seen both ways if you don't, problem solve and lean in to those kind of disruptors.
Can you expound on what 2.0 is for those who may not?
So 2.0 is the integration of FedEx Express into the FedEx Ground network, where FedEx Express is no longer going to deliver the boxes. Those will all be shipped over into the Ground network. And if you guys know what that means, more boxes is more money. But it is going to come with quite a bit of disruption. We are 2.0 in one of our terminals. And if you don't lean in and problem solve, my kind of tagline for 2.0 is it's not harder, it's just different. And I think that's just with any change, right? Just it's not harder, it's just going to look a little bit different. And it's up to me, my husband, and my leadership team to make sure that we absorb that discomfort, problem solve, and provide a solution so that my drivers are impacted the least possible. And we can get the job done.
I love that. I love that. Nick, back to you, sir. What separates operators who stay profitable from ones who don't?
And that also is a good question. I can just tell you from my experience, a couple of things that I've seen some contractors do and that we've done ourselves is one big one is you have to have a list of mechanics. Now, the operations that I'm more familiar with are local. Been involved with a little bit of teams, and that's a little bit different. But the local stuff, if you have a handful of mechanics, good, decent mechanics, not just dealerships, but how to say this? I like paying bills one day a week. I don't know about you guys, but if you're just swiping the card every day paying bills, it can get to be a headache and remembering what's going on. And I like to have a little bit of order in my accounting. So I like to pay bills on Friday. So if the truck's done on Tuesday, I want to call the shop and they say, come get it. I want to be able to get it, right? And just go pick it up. Hey, I got you on Friday. Hit me up, run the card, okay? If there's a mechanic, and there are mechanics out there that you're not getting your truck until you pay me. Well, I'll try, those guys tend to fall down my list unless I really, really need them, because I like to create my lifestyle the way that I want to. And in so doing, I'm also and I'm able to keep track more of my money that's coming in. So in the line haul space, you have a deposit every week. For the most part, it stays pretty consistent. And I know pretty much what my payroll is going to be. I know what my cash flow is going to be. And I know how much for that week I'm typically spending on maintenance. So if I'm dropping a bunch on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I might forget something because I'm not perfect. and then by Friday I've overspent, and then I got to try to make up for it next week. So you need to be able to keep track of what you're spending, and I do that by trying to spend at one time so that all my numbers are correct, for that week. I don't like dipping into my main account. I like just to use what money's there, put money that's there into the main account, make that account grow, and then on to the next week. If I have to pull from the other account, which has been very minimal, I know that wasn't a good week, and that could have been an error on my part, or me not communicating with my managers and watching what they're doing as well. So that could be a thing. And the other thing that I thought of too to answer this question is what type of how you're going about planning on your trucks. Depends on how big of an operation you're running. If you're a 5-truck operation, a 10-truck operation, a 20-truck operation, do you have a bank note? Do you not have a bank note? Those types of things will dictate whether or not you can go out and afford a brand new truck, or whether or not you can go and lease 3 new trucks that are awesome and that make things really nice and easy, or should you go be buying some better used trucks, pay those off as fast as you can, and then grow into that. So you can, if you're not careful with what you're doing, you can get over leveraged on your truck spending pretty easy. And I've been on that side of that too, and had to pull out of that once as well. So those couple things I think make a big difference in how you manage your money and whether or not you're gonna turn out to be successful in this industry.
Got it. Thank you for that. I'm going to kick it over to you, Amy, because we were actually talking about maintenance a little earlier prior to sitting down. So you want to expand on what Nick is saying? And
Yeah, I think just to add on to that real quick before the maintenance piece, I think just aligning yourself with the right vendors across the board, right? Just from payroll to insurance to fuel, whatever that looks like, aligning yourself, do your homework. That's where the savings and the purchase power is going to come. And that's what's going to help you kind of stay in line with your finances. From the maintenance side, on the line haul side, we had our own diesel shop for a long time. And then just recently, 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, opened our own P&D shop. Now, they are not for hire. We do not do consumer business. We don't do anyone else's trucks. We're a very large fleet, so I like to keep my guys, we keep our guys busy ourselves. But I was saying to a couple people today also that it's not just about the cost savings or the buying power or the consignment of parts, so readily available, but it's eliminating that downtime, right? Knowing that if I get a truck that's down, that I don't have to wait to get in line at the dealership, or I have to wait in line, or I have to wait until Tuesday when the guy wants to bill me, or pick from the bottom of the list of maintenance people that are available. I know that my trucks are a priority because they're mine. I made a joke and I said that we're a warranty business, so I know my guys are going to fix my stuff right, because if they don't fix it right, they have to fix it again. So it's like warranty work. It's like a lifestyle of warranty work. So they're fixing things. We have mobile trucks. So every one of our P&D, we have 4 P&D mechanics. They each have a maintenance truck. So they're going to the terminals and doing small maintenance. Any truck that needs to come in for a PM or big maintenance will come to our shop, and same thing with the line haul. So we have 3 mechanics on the line haul side, 4 mechanics on the P&D side. There's a little bit of crossover because they're literally right next door to each other. And they're centralized. So we are a regional business. So we're within 2 hours of every one of the 9 terminals, and our maintenance shop is plopped right in the middle. So if there's a line haul truck going from Pittsburgh or Youngstown and it comes through my shop and is having trouble, we can actually replace the truck on the way to the next location. If they're in Columbus and they're on their way back, so we're pretty centrally located. We also invested in our own tow truck because a 3-hour tow is about $4,000. So we had about 1 or 2 too many of those, and we realized that it was time to invest in our own tow truck.
I love it. And Adam, how does operations play into profitability? You have Go HQ. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, operationally, especially in the Amazon space, there are really small, minute things that can drastically change profitability. One of the core components, there's almost a 95% correlation between your incentives received from Amazon and your year-end profitability. Call that $8,000 to $15,000 a week, depending on seasonality. And one day of operational faux pas or failures can result in a complete miss of that incentive. So that means not only monitoring that scorecard on a weekly basis, but really daily to make those adjustments for the remainder of the week, because you have a 7-day window to post those. And beyond that, it's a really expensive piece. So there's that. I would say, in addition, the way Amazon pays for the routes, you get 10 hours to complete your route. Differs from a FedEx operation. And we want to budget those labor hours within the 10 hours we're being compensated for. Anything beyond that 10 hours, we're working for free. And so one of the daily KPIs that our team manages is an hours to budget. So we have 10 hours to complete the routes. We say we ran 40 routes, 400 hours. How many labor hours did we have that day? It's one of the driving factors of profitability for us outside of the incentives.
Hey guys, we just wanted to pause for a moment to invite you to our free events that are happening throughout the year. Whether you're just getting started in the logistics industry or you're looking to optimize your current operation, Route Consultant has events that are designed specifically for you. So head on over to routeconsultant.com/events or check out our show notes to register for free today. Also, while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Industry Insights with Route Consultant podcast so that you don't miss out on the stories, the advice, and the updates that are happening throughout the industry. We appreciate you being here and hope to meet you in person soon. Now let's get back to the episode.
So that kind of touches on how you can save money, but let's just talk about profitability. Let's talk about margins. How have margins been in your space, and how do you deal with shrinking margins in this environment? Am I opening up Pandora's box?
No, just a short answer.
Okay.
My margins have been great.
Okay.
I can't say that they've shrunk since day one, but we've been after it. We went from 5 trucks to 40 trucks in 5 years, so it's been fun that way. I did want to add on one thing though.
Sure.
Can I add on one thing?
Absolutely.
All right. One more thing, as far as when we're talking about what you can do to be successful or to not be the guy that goes out, is come to these events. Every one of you are doing it right now, like rubbing shoulders, getting Amy's phone number, like call her, that's how I'm dead serious. That's how I got help going through this. Like, it's because I came to one of these events 6 months in, I saved $65,000 on insurance by switching, and I never looked back, and by using the right vendor. So I can't reiterate how good our vendors are, how good our people are. And don't be afraid to put yourself out there and come up and say hi, or we're more than welcome to share what knowledge we have. So that's a big thing as far as what can you do to, do things the same way other people are doing them. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and make sure that you're profitable as well. So.
Oh, thank you for that. So margins are great. So that's not an issue.
Margins are great.
Do you guys echo that sentiment as well? Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I would say margins Amazon is an evolving network that's relatively new. FedEx ground network's been around for decades. Amazon really launched this 2.0 program in late 2017, early 2018. There's going to be lots of iterations to the program. They are maneuvering dials across the board, whether that's the maintenance program I had referenced earlier, some of these scorecard incentives, seasonal incentives, adjusting some of their assumptions around pricing and rate cards and costs associated with operating a DSP. But they're manipulating some of them before they manipulate the next one. And so there are lapses in time where margins are compressed, but we typically see then the next dial gets turned and they elevate back up. So it's ensuring that you have the cash reserves and cash flow to navigate those 2 to 6 month periods here and there where first change happens, second change hasn't caught up yet. So outside of that, I think it's just continuing to pay attention to the deeper details, get more in the weeds on those financial figures, and you have control over maybe more than you would initially have anticipated you have control over. and the 1% gains are a big deal.
Amy, I feel like you have something to add to that.
I think my take on net is for this group to not be comparative. We're going to talk about it a little bit in a session tomorrow, but I think the big takeaway is people will talk about like, oh, what's your net percentage, or what's yours, or what's your percentage of payroll, or it's completely variable.
We call it
right?
pocket watching.
Right. So it's completely variable. So like my net percent, I have 4 senior managers and a line haul manager. So 5 managers in between me and Dave and our BCs or our local managers. Okay. That is an expense to my business that not every business has. Right. So my net might be lower than yours, but my pie is bigger, right?
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about that, right?
For
like
sure.
the piece of my FedEx slice, like my slice of pie is bigger than maybe someone else's that doesn't have 5 managers in between, right? They don't have that overhead, but I can't manage scalably without them. So at the end of the day, a smaller percentage of a bigger pie is still a lot of money, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you have to be very aware of when you're talking net percentages with people, right? Like across the network, trucking is like 4.5%, 5%, like logistics, right? And everyone in this room is 10% or higher, right? If they're doing things correctly. Line haul, even higher, right? Us, higher. And like the ability to go 30, 35% is there. But what are you doing to achieve those things, right? If you have 2 BCs, maybe you're an absent AO, right? Maybe you're an investor and you're not there. There's a cost to doing that business, right? There's a cost to your net of having that freedom and that bandwidth of that someone else, that maybe the AO, the authorized officer, the owner is going and doing the work. Their net's going to be higher because they're in the weeds doing it, right? So I guess just what I'm saying is from a net percentage, just don't compare. Make sure that the net is right for you. And then have targets, right? Meet with the professionals in this room and find out like, hey, how'd you get from 5 routes to 40 routes? And what does that look like? Did you have to buy in? Was it organic, right? Those are the questions we should be asking.
I love that. Let me stay with you for a second there. You've
Sure.
been able to build in multiple spaces. How do you build or how do you create a successful moat around your business? How do you make your business hard to kill?
So saying yes to the customer and doing things the right way. It is really expensive to do things the right way, but it also sets me up. It's kind of bulletproof, right? When you can't poke holes in anything that I'm doing, I'm kind of bulletproof, right? And when I'm doing things the right way and I have buy-in from my team, when those opportunities arise to grow or lean in or take on a run or run Schedule J or run contingency or try a new line of business like custom critical, and your team will support you and you have the bandwidth and you're kind of bulletproof to do that, it makes it, it's kind of hard to kill when you do things the right way. Now, if I'm cutting corners on training and I'm constantly looking over my shoulder and I'm not paying bills and I'm, kind of doing things under the table or paying guys under the table or, cheating in any way, those vulnerabilities are gonna, they're gonna open up additional vulnerabilities that are gonna, leave you wide open.
For sure. Nick, you have anything to add to that?
Oh, it just made me think of how I could do better, I guess.
Stop cheating, Nick.
I'm like, man, I need to train my people better. That's a thought that would through my head.
Need to be
I need to be more
resuscitation,
bulletproof.
huh?
I need to be bulletproof. Does that guy get trained good? I think that's always a thought though that goes through our heads though when we put a new driver out on the road is, when you do get bigger, you do have people in between you, and I have a couple in between me, and the same thing is I need to trust them that the training's being done correctly because I'm not in the seat doing it myself. So I know that my front line is that they're trained well and that they're making decisions and they spend enough time with me that they know, hey, how would Nick handle it or whatever. So I have confidence in those guys.
You want to add on something, Adam?
I would echo the doing things the right way, sleeping with both eyes closed sort of mentality. I think in addition to that, as you talk about those layers that are in between you, what are you doing to elevate the next person, maybe below, and sort of flex train them to get up to that role? I've had instances of illness or relocation for key personnel that I've had on my team that would be majorly disruptive if I didn't have kind of a junior person below them getting some exposure, ready and prepared to jump into that role that typically would have fallen on probably my shoulders. And at the size we are now, it's too much for one person to juggle. So I would say, consistently cross-training and developing that next person below in contingency.
I love that. Let's stick with you for a second. What's a pivot that you may have resisted in the beginning, but proved to kind of work out for you in the long run?
I think early I took a philosophy of when hiring support, we'll stay on that topic for a second, those kind of layers in between. I took a philosophy of hiring a jack of all trades or a generalist. So I'm going to hire an HR generalist, and they're going to be the best recruiter and the best payroll person, and I'm going to be an operations guy and a finance guy, and I'm going to be the best at that. And so moving more into what is the one critical skill set that I need, and hire the best person for that, and then figure out what could be outsourced or what could be handled by a vendor or a partner here, instead of getting sort of a B plus or a B minus player that keeps it afloat. I learned a lot of hard lessons doing it that way, where things were getting done, but they weren't getting done accurately. And so I think that's a big thing. If I could go back, I probably would have adjusted that earlier, decided who I needed specific to a task or a critical procedure or process in the business, and then found other folks to fill in the gaps for the rest of the stuff.
I love that. What was a hard decision for you, Amy, that was proven to be a good decision in the long run? And also, I'd like to add to that, how do you go about making decisions? Like, what's your process for decision making?
Well, I typically ask Dave, and if he says no, then we just do it.
Very simple.
I'm like, let's do custom critical. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, I'll sign up. Actually, I'll make you sign up because I'm not the AO. No, Dave and I think we're actually, I always say, a perfect marriage on and off the field. Minus all the arguments. But I think one of the biggest things, like where we pivot, is just not to resist the need to pivot. I think just in any change, just to lean in and do it. But I think the biggest one that, like the risk where we were rolling the dice, is to open our own shops. So we had a small shop that we rented and had 1-2 mechanics for our 8 to 16 line haul trucks at the time. And we were still outsourcing maintenance on the P&D trucks. And we had way more, like 3 times more of those. And I'm like, what are we doing? And Dave said the same thing. Well, then we leaned in, bought a property that happened to have 2 shops on it, 2 separate buildings. We hired a mechanic, and we were like, what do we do? But the pivot, the security of the pivot is that we don't do for hire now, right? We were like, oh my gosh, we have to outsource all these parts, and we have to upfront the money. And yes, the savings is there, but buying $40,000 worth of tires doesn't seem like a savings when you have to spend $40,000 up front, even though the tires are half, right? Like it's same thing with like the nitrogen in the tires, right? It costs $250 a truck, which is like 8 to 12 grand. And then I'm like, oh, but I'm saving 16 grand. So like leaning into some of those decisions on the maintenance side, I was like, oh, this is so expensive. But then to see that kind of flesh out, and then also have that kind of comfort level that if it didn't work out, we have a maintenance shop, right? We could go public and do that. So it's a little bit more comfort. So just making that big jump into hiring people, getting, mobile trucks, setting us up as a vendor with FedEx, like all of that, it was like a complete new line of business. So the question he asked was, do I ever offer it to other contractors? And we do not. With the size fleet we have, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I don't like to share. I don't play nice in the sandbox and that's kind of why.
Simply put.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to my trucks, I'm sorry, but I can't, if I ran my maintenance shop as a profit center, like I do my business, and I service my customer like I do at FedEx, I would put you first. and then my truck has to wait, right? So the problem is now my employee has to wait because I'm servicing you because I want to make money on a different profit center. So now this is counterintuitive to what I do at Slicker and what's made us successful. So when we decided, right, and that's why we didn't open a shop with 5 trucks, because we couldn't afford to just do 5 trucks and a full maintenance shop. So now we have 46 line haul trucks and over 150, 175 P&D trucks. And it makes sense, right? And I don't have even the smallest bandwidth of a window to fix your truck because I have enough of my own, so I keep my guys busy. But I think that was the thought process behind, like, so it's a savings center right now, and not just savings, but like I said, that downtime, right? The ability to get my truck right back. I'm the first one in line. I come first all the time at my own shop. So I think that was the idea. And I do know there's a lot of contractors that have 5, line haul trucks that have their maintenance shop be a profit center. So they have 2 bays. One takes care of their shop, their rigs, and the other bay and the other mechanic is more of a profit center for local contractors in the building. So there's a model that works. Fortunately for us, we're big enough that I can keep my guys busy.
I love that. How are we looking on time? I want to make sure I respect the time. Are we good to go? I guess nobody's in here. I guess we just keep on going. All right. Listen, oh, we're good on time? Okay, I do want to take a moment to open it up to you guys because, you have some experts here doing this panel. So any questions in the audience really quick? And if not, I can ask questions all night. So I just want to give a brief second. Anybody have any questions really fast before we move forward? You can raise your hand, by the way, if you have any questions. Okay. Could we have a runner over here? Just right over here. We have a question. Please stand and give your name. They're coming around. They're in the back. Green shirt. And while she asks her question, you guys think if you have any other questions, let's take this opportunity to learn from our panel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kaylin. I'm from Houston, Texas. And my question is just for one that might have the answer. Me and my husband are just getting started in the buying a bread route and all those things. I just want to know how much time was it between buying your first route and then buying your second route?
Okay, so how much time it was in between buying your first route and buying your second route? You want to tackle that, Amy?
Well, Dave started one man, one van back when it was allowed. So a little bit different for us. But I would say in today's FedEx network, once you buy in, if you can prove success and kind of learn the business, it's almost immediate. You don't have to be in a year. You just have to replicate the success that you've built. So if you can, it really is up to you as far as that bandwidth. So if you buy a broken business, which is very viable, right? Fire sale, you're gonna have to roll up your sleeves and put a little bit of work in to get it turned around, right? You're gonna have some change, you're gonna have some new hires, you're gonna have to break the mold, you're gonna have to fix things, maybe new trucks. And then from there, once you think that everything is good, the opportunity to grow is almost immediate. It's really up to you. But you don't have to be in a year, which is actually one of the really amazing things about FedEx, is the opportunity to grow and not just kind of buy into another route, but there's always opportunities. FedEx is integrating the 2.0. So they're making these changes to the network that's going to funnel more volume. This guy here has given us lovely all the big boxes. So, I mean, regardless of how uncomfortable and bumpy that looks, it's more money, it's more volume, they're boxes. That's how we get paid. So really, I would just say as soon as you feel comfortable and you've kind of mastered and streamlined, then the ability to scale is really up to you.
I want to take it a bit further. What does mastery look like? What would some of those indicators be to let you know that you're ready to go to the next level?
Stress. Right? right? It's an easy one. But honestly, I would say profitability, maintenance for us on the P&D side, just managing the chaos, really. And if you can streamline the chaos, and then if you want to, as an owner, operator, and entrepreneur, if you can step away and start looking at new opportunities, you're ready. Right? If you're still elbow deep in fixing something or managing it day to day, you're not ready yet, right? You have to have the bandwidth to be able to manage that next step, to be able to hire the right people, to put the BCs or the managers in place. You need a little bit of white space on your plate in order to grow. So I think that's a good indicator, and it looks different for everybody.
Nick or Adam, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll add to it. I think I started in September, and then by February, I was comfortable with applying for an offering, and I ended up getting that offering. And then in that July following, I got the chance to buy the other contractor that was in the terminal, and FedEx approved it. So, it's a lot of it's being ready for it, feeling that you're ready for it. A lot of it's preparing yourself and then being in the right spot at the right time. So luck, I guess, on some aspects, but that's how I did it, and then just kept going, and just feeling good about it and knowing what you want and learning more, what your goals are and what type of contract you're looking for, and getting in there on the line haul side. So that's how I did it.
I think I'm going to jump in real quick, but I think one of the things that you can also, on the line haul side specifically, but also on the P&D side, the more you grow and the bigger you are, there is a sense of ease. Once you hit, it kind of gets bumpy. There's like an uncomfortable growth, and then it starts getting a little bit more comfortable as you put in those layers, right? My senior managers, here we are in Nashville, and I have 4 of my top guys, my husband and I, are all hands off, right? We're here. So there is a success and replication that we've been able to achieve. They're still on the phone, they're still taking calls, double checking things, but there is a success that these guys have built for us and a comfort at being bigger that allows us to step away and look to the next thing, right? So I think that's...
You have to replicate yourself, essentially, so you feel comfortable, so the stress is gone. Once you feel the stress is gone, like you said, you're like, okay, let's add another route, let's add another one.
Anything to add to that, Adam?
I just say another variable to it. Once the stress is gone and consistency is continuing to happen, you can make yourself stress-free from something, but the business starts to falter a bit. So once you see that consistency as you step away and start to look at the new opportunities like you talked about, time to move.
Consistency, that's important.
And don't confuse discomfort for stress. Right? Like growing is uncomfortable. Like you have to learn new people, you have to hire new people, you have to learn new areas, maybe new terminals, new terminal managers, new processes, line haul, P&D, whatever that looks like, the different, he's like, not all terminal managers are made the same, even in the same district. It's very interesting. But I think there's a discomfort that's okay that you'll get through when growing. It's just what they call them, like growing pains, and leaning into those, which is different than the stress of not having one or your current situation stress-free. And sometimes, you have to push through the uncomfort, that discomfort to get to the other side of scale.
Any other questions out there in the audience? Yes, sir. Okay, 1 second. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. I'm in line haul. We run about 14 tractors out of Lehigh, Pennsylvania area. My question is, where and we're looking at different market areas. What are a few good ways to find broken businesses or runs?
Can you repeat that? So you said broken?
Broken businesses or runs. What are a few ways to find those? Some good ways to find those.
What are a few to find like distressed broken businesses or runs?
Right. People looking to get rid of them. They want out. They don't have
fire sales, as you guys called them a little bit earlier.
Fire sales, right?
Yeah. How do you find them? You look for the smoke?
But you want me to disclose the secrets right here? So that's what you're asking for?
That's what we're looking for. Give them the secret sauce.
Just who it's all through here.
So-
I'm telling you that these are the best things you can do for information for that type of stuff. That won't be online.
No, you're not going to find them online. I also think a lot of our growth has been with the relationship of our terminal managers. So, like literally being, close with them, saying yes. So when someone does fail or someone does call off, Dave and I have 21 contracted runs in the hub area, but we run 25 more tractors. Okay, so we have 25 people that are running full time that are not contracted at all. And we've been doing it for 5 years. So literally, there's no contract opportunity, but I have full time. They're working 5-6 days a week, these people. No issues, but we say yes. So when someone else fails, when their other guy is called off. So my strategy for that would be hire a guy and get a tractor and put it out there. And then when the opportunity is ready, you're ready. But waiting for that fire sale and then saying like, oh, okay, hang on a second. Let me grab a tractor. Let me go hire somebody. And then let me go get ready to help you. We've always been ready. Okay, so when the opportunity arises, I'm like, hey, I got a tractor and a guy. I'm going to go do that for you. And that's how we've kind of grown. Our terminal, for some reason, I know it sounds crazy that we run that many spares. You were like, what? It's not. It is nuts. But we also run. So we run about 824 dispatches. We do local line haul, so we don't do over the road. And a lot of those are city work. So we have 9 now full-time day workers, and they do 9 to 11 spots a day. And that is where they go to like a manufacturer and pick up a spotted trailer. It's kind of like P&D work, but with a semi-truck. So we have a lot of work that is uncontracted, but that honestly is where the money is for us. Our contracted runs are literally just a means to get that extra work. So I would say, even if you're BC or you have your CDL or if you have another driver on staff, make sure you have an extra tractor and just be ready for it. Outside of that relationship with the terminal manager, and just say like, hey man, I want to grow. And when it happens, you got to let me know. And they'll be the first ones to let you know. They're on a call in the hub area, and they're going to say, hey, we get this a lot. This is how we ended up in multiple terminals. Well, Slicker wants to grow. Okay. How about this terminal? Go ask him. Yep, he's got a tractor. He'll hire a guy. He'll be ready in 2 or 3 days. It's just sometimes you have to put your money up first and make those relationships. So I'd say those two things.
What she said.
That's great advice. Was that
I love
helpful?
Nick.
Was that
Nick,
helpful?
You're kind of like my husband.
Okay, amazing.
Yes, honey.
All right. I saw a couple hands go up when this gentleman raised his hand. Anybody else have any questions? I know I saw another hand somewhere in that area.
Hello, everyone. Shaq Thomas. I currently run a big P&D operation in Montgomery, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia. So right now, I've been doing P&D for about 7 years, and I'm looking to get into the line haul space. So for me, you don't find those opportunities online. So for me, I want to know, like, how do you find those opportunities? Kind of based off what you see. So, just elaborate a little bit more. Do I need to spend more time with the senior manager or what?
All I can say is exactly what I just said. Rubbing shoulders here. You might hear something, later tonight, hanging out or not. I don't know. And then exactly, what Amy just said. If you can get a tractor, you can talk to a terminal manager, tell them you're interested in getting into line haul. They might say, hey, get a tractor, and they might put the tractor there, and you hire your first person, and maybe they'll use you twice a week, maybe they won't, but you start getting in that way. So that's really the only thing that I know of right now. Those couple ways, and unless you're finding them online. So
You want to add something, Adam?
I get it'd be a bit of a different take because it's not in the FedEx space, so not exactly applicable. But we took an opportunity to run some box truck tours. We were an Amazon DSP running final mile. They needed some support, so saying yes to the customer. We showed up. We were driving around. We saw some branded semi tractors in the back. We said, "What is that?" And just kept asking questions. So it's similar to what you're saying. Just talk to those terminal managers, and they eventually just gave us an opportunity to do it. So it's being visual, being keeping an eye on things that are happening, and then being available to do it and do it well.
I would say also in the line haul space, there was a time where they were doing that more often organically, where you could just, kind of raise your hand and say, yep, me too, ready. I would say if you're looking to expedite that process, look at a small operation, see if you can get your feet wet with, 2-3 routes. I know the minimum's 2 in a hub area, but find an operation or find an operator that's willing to peel off 2 routes, or a small operation that you can buy into. And then from there, the growth, is exponential and pretty fast. I mean, you went from 5 to 40 in 4 years. We went from 1 to 46. This is our 7th year. And custom critical. And that opportunity was literally just me asking and saying like, hey, we've done line haul for this long. What does this network look like? And they were like, oh, well, here, you can just apply. And then that, that was something that we could grow into organically. But I would say if you're looking to get there faster, you may have to make an investment. If you want to kind of take the slow road and get in organically, you're going to have to, rub those shoulders and invest in a tractor. And it's still going to take a little bit of money and time. But if you can buy in 2-3 routes, then you can, kind of start getting that money back by growing organically.
Hello. All right,
Yeah.
So one last thing. So would you suggest going in unassigned routes and just build from there?
So if I were looking to grow, I would take any routes. Unassigned, assigned. Our first route was unassigned, contracted unassigned, but still unassigned. And it's a wheel, right? The unassigned is a wheel. So it goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back around. And there were some nights that we had to eat the salary, right? So we do a availability pay for our driver. And now the way that we've structured our business, we are regional, right? So I said we have, in our line haul terminals, we have about a 2-hour gap each direction. And outside of Pittsburgh, we go from like Youngstown to Cleveland. So it's about a 45-minute. So I very rarely have to send someone home because I'm within 45 minutes of my main terminals. So if someone calls off or FedEx is like, hey, we don't have any work for you, I call the other terminal. I'm like, hey, my guy will be there in 45 minutes. What do you got for us? So they know that in kind of this tri area, they can always count on us. I very rarely send somebody home. But in the beginning, I may have to pay $250 on a Wednesday to send somebody home. But that will come back to you. That's the investment in free, right? So that's one of the things that we talk about with organic growth. Everybody's like, oh, well, the contract's not right. I'm barely breaking even. This doesn't look right. This doesn't look like. I'm like, it's $2 million for free, right? Like you may have to take a hit on a little bit of that. It's free. Organic growth, right? So, oh my gosh, I have to go buy a tractor and sit on it and wait for the business. Yeah, you might have to buy a $40,000 tractor and sit on it. It's a $40,000 investment to get, right, a full line haul run or a full chunk of an operation. So remember what free looks like, right? And kind of what that little bit of investment might have to look like to grow organically.
100%. All right, I think we probably have time for one more question. Is there any other questions? Yes, sir.
I'll make it real quick. Money's time, time is money, right?
That's right.
Hello, I'm from Miami. We're not going to talk about the Dolphins, but quick question.
Okay.
Quick question I had. So I know you mentioned that buying routes no matter the state. So if you're located in the state of Florida, but you see a route in, I don't know, Memphis, Tennessee, would you recommend that, or do you think you have to be in Memphis, Tennessee, right? Because I want to be the owner, not the operator, right? But I get it. You learn from your fruits, right? You got to plant your fruits and watch it grow. So my thing is, if you have the capital and you want to take the opportunity to bless others, right? Put others in situations where they can, help you build your business. What do you recommend? So if you're in Florida, should you look at routes in Florida? Or if you're in Georgia, should you look at routes in Georgia, North Carolina, so on, so on?
A real wise man once said, you want to be within about 8 hours of your operation. I know gentlemen that do it, and they're much farther away, so it is doable. I would recommend to anything that I've ever done, and I did 5 or 6 industries before I found FedEx, and I've always jumped in, boots on the ground for the first couple of years. So I know it like the back of my hand before I felt comfortable moving out away from it. So just depends on your experience, in my opinion, what you feel comfortable with and what you're willing to risk to reward on that, you know. But is it doable? Yeah, it's doable.
And how quick, right? So if you have to wait 2 years for something to open up in Florida because it's comfortable, and you can jump on something in Memphis or Georgia now, right? That's a decision that you might have to make. Have a conversation with your family. I got to, you know, kind of commute and go remote for a couple of days a week, go back and forth, invest in flights or drive or whatever that looks like. Or if you have a trusted advisor, right, a trusted BC or somebody that, like you said, that you can bless and kind of put them up and make them the person that's going to run the business, just has to be, they have to run it the way you would run it, right? And it's hard to run a business that you don't know how to run. So to kind of echo Nick, you have to know the ins and outs before you can hand it off to somebody, because then you won't even know what to expect.
And your oversight's still everything, even from where you're at. You're going to get judged on your oversight. So just you have to be really confident in it.
Thank you. Happy New Year's, by the way.
Yeah. You too as well.
You too.
All right. Well, I think we're about at time. Oh, don't clap yet. Jeez, y'all want us off the stage that bad? All right, so again, we're about at time. I want to thank you guys so much for sitting through this. I think this was an amazing panel. I want to thank our panelists, Amy, Adam, Nick. Thank you for the wealth of information. You guys, now it's your chance. You got to go out there, go do it. You have the information. Blessings to you all, and thank you so much